Hi there, welcome to this session all about how to leverage Copilots for effective adoption and change management. My name's Jack Fisher and I'm a solutions architect in the AI and automation space. I've got a love of all things Copilot and Microsoft Viva and employee experience. I've been in the industry for about 17 years now. And yeah, we're going to talk to you all about adoption and change management and getting Copilots to do some of the heavy lifting. Over to you, Pete.
Cool, thanks, Jack. So I am slightly longer in the tooth than Jack. So I'm about 25 years in. Been pretty much working for or in the world of Microsoft since the beginning. Go back to the days of 351 and Exchange 4 and stuff like that. And again, I share a passion with Jack about the AI and automation, and it's amazing just to see what this stuff really can do when you put it to work. So I'm also a change management practitioner as well, pro-sci. So hopefully, yeah, as Jack said, we can take away some of the heavy lifting for you. So this is the official statement from pro-sci as to what change management is. I'm not going to read it to you. Hopefully you can all read. But fundamentally, what we're talking about is how people react to change. And change management, when you apply it properly, turns someone into wanting the tool, which is the majority of the battle, versus, oh, bloody hell, here we go again. So it's really building that desire so that by the time you actually deploy the solution, people are really keen to get their hands on it. So the high level solutions that we're going to talk about for change management and how we help that process really helps two sets of people. First of all, it is there to help the people that the change is being made to or applied to, by giving them additional resource and information and ways of supporting that change. But it's also, and probably more importantly, taking an awful lot of load off of your change manager. So as we go through it, we'll talk through the various different stages of change management and how that helps. So what does it look like in practice? Well, it's very judgmental. So if you're not with me, you're my enemy. Great line. Not one of the best films, but it's a great line. When you go through change management, it starts with lots and lots of assessments. And actually, part of the assessments will define whether or not somebody is, it's an A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3. And A1 is somebody who's fully on board. They understand everything. They know why it's going to be good for them. They know why the company's doing it. It's fantastic. They are your ally. You then have the opposite, which is B1, which is they understand everything. They know why. They've been trained to whatever, but they just don't want it. That is the most difficult case to deal with. So if you're anything other than an A1, you're basically a challenge that needs to be dealt with. And this is what change management deals with. So if you look at some of these little screenshots we've got, you carry out an awful lot of assessments, and I do mean an awful lot of assessments if you do it properly. So you talk to the leadership team, you talk to the project management team, you talk to the change management team, you understand how projects in the past have gone, where the weak points in the company are. Is it that they just turf something out with a PDF file and say, go ahead and use it? So we do a lot of conversations, and that's not just at that level. We have conversations with the various different sponsors. So you have the exec sponsor as part of the leadership, but you also have the line managers of the people who are affected by the change are also part of that assessment process. So if you take a large organization, you will be carrying out an awful lot of interviews, an awful lot of conversations, gaining an awful lot of data. And this is the point at which the Copilot can really start to help take away that heavy lifting.
Great, thanks, Pete. So yeah, like Pete said, there's that side of the change management process where you've got your change people who are implementing the change, running these assessments, talking to everyone. But it's also quite important to understand the principles of the individual change. So that's when we look at something called the ADKAR model. So it's basically ADKAR is a powerful yet simple approach to change management that focuses on facilitating individual change within your organization. So the model outlines the 5 critical outcomes that an individual needs to achieve for a change to be successful. So to start off with, the A is for awareness. So that's where individuals must become aware of the need for change. So this involves understanding why the change is necessary and recognizing its impact on them and the organization. We then come on to the D, which is desire. So that's where individuals need to develop a desire to participate in and support the change. And this step addresses their motivation and willingness to embrace the new way of doing things. We then move on to the K, which is knowledge. So individuals are going to require knowledge about how to make the change. So this includes understanding what specific actions or behaviors are going to be expected during the transition. We then have ability. So the ability is obviously the individuals need to gain the ability to implement the desired skills and behaviors to be part of this change. And then this step kind of focuses on building the competencies to carry out the changes successfully. And then we have reinforcement. So this is to sustain the change that individuals need reinforcement. So it involves ongoing support, recognition, and encouragement to maintain the new behaviors and then prevent people reverting back to old habits, which is quite important. And then the ADKAR model emphasizes that your organizational change can only happen when your individuals change. So it complements the whole pro-sci 3-phase process, which is a framework for organizational change by focusing on individual change and addressing any of the roadblocks and barriers along the way. So Microsoft, for example, has successfully applied the ADKAR model to influence buy-in, identify blockers, drive successful adoption of changes within their organization. And remember, change is not just about processes and systems. It's really, really important that it's about people. So again, how can Copilot help with things? So how can it help with the assessments that we talked about? So it can absolutely help with the assessments. If you think about sponsor interviews, you could use Copilot to transcribe the conversations that you have with your sponsors when you're performing those interviews. You can then use Copilot to interrogate the transcript, ask questions about it. You can kind of then extend that out and use things like Power Platform to run sentiment analysis and use OpenAI to run sentiment analysis to help identify the types of people and where they sit within those organizations. So that's when Pete was talking about your A1s, B1s, etc. And then coalition mapping. So you want to map out where the people within your organization sit within this. So you could use, again, a combination of Copilot, Power Platform to sort of fully automate that coalition mapping process. And that's quite a labor intensive task, isn't it, Pete? So, you can.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So you can really, there's a big time saving to be made there if you can start to automate that mapping process. Then you could have this information feed into things like an instant dashboard. So feed into a Power BI dashboard. You could get Copilot within Power BI to help you create this dashboard, but then also to interrogate the data and gain really useful insights from it. And then further from that, it can feed into things like OKRs. So you could have a set of OKRs. In fact, you could use Copilot within Viva Goals, for example, to help create OKRs for this, and then also feed them and integrate them into your dashboard that we've just talked about, so that your key results are automatically updated on an ongoing basis.
Cool. So we're going to delve into the individual change, the ADKAR process a little bit more. So if we start with awareness, awareness comes from 2 places, right? It comes from the organizational level, which is your exec sponsor saying, this is what we are doing, this is why we are doing it, this is the impact of us not doing it. But also, the second that is announced, an individual will typically go to their line manager to say, what's going on? How does that affect me? So the awareness needs to come from 2 areas. So what can we do, Jack? What can we do with it?
Loads of different things spring to mind. So, you can, first of all, Copilot's great at crafting comms for you. So you're going to need a comms plan. You're going to want to know when you're sending things out, so you could help it to create the comms plan for you, but also to help create the actual comms themselves. And we've used Copilot ourselves for quite a while now, and having it be able to change the tone for the different type of audience that you have. So craft an initial comms, but then say, right, actually, we want this one to be a bit more fun. We're going to post it on a different place. Maybe this is going to go onto a Viva Engage community where things are a little more light-hearted. So make the post more light-hearted. Then perhaps you're having something a bit more official going on a SharePoint site. So you could use Copilot to craft the comms, create templates for you, get things sent out like that.
Cool. Okay, so desire. This is the Smeagol, my precious type image from the beginning. This is about getting somebody to want the tool. There's a big difference between rolling out a technology to somebody who really doesn't understand it or doesn't want it, to somebody who's going, actually, do you know what, I really want this. And actually, Copilot in itself is a really good example of this. We've had so many people in the business going, when am I going to get my license? When am I going to get it? As far as adoption goes, that's an absolute dream situation. So how can we use the Copilot to build the desire?
So I mean, like we said, people need to understand the benefit at a personal level, and they're going to have lots of questions. And again, that can become a burden on the change management team, the people who are putting the change in, getting the same questions asked over and over again. So perhaps you could build a custom Copilot or a bot to help answer these questions. So people can go straight onto a bot in Teams. They could start asking questions. What date is my team going to get this? It can go off, look at the information and the data you've got on the change, and instantly ask those questions for people. But then also, perhaps if it can't answer the question, maybe it could direct you to the right person to go and talk to as well. So because you can look all over your M365 tenant, and you can start having the knowledge in place, but then also the people that have the relevant knowledge that can answer those questions for you, and it can direct you to those people.
Cool. Knowledge. This is basically the training piece, right?
Yeah.
So with the knowledge, it's all very well somebody understanding why the change is happening. It's all very well them understanding how it can help them. If they don't know how to use the tool, you've got another problem. Okay, so those are your three actual blockers as far as change management goes. Are they aware? Do they have the desire? And how are they, or have they been trained? So how can we use it for training, for knowledge?
Yeah, so again, providing access to the learning materials themselves. You could use things like Viva Learning for this, and Copilot could integrate into that. But also, again, we talked about content creation, so it can help you create content. Within this slide deck, we've used Copilot to help create some images for us as well, haven't we? And some other presentations that we do. So it can help make presentations more fun, more sort of personable. You can also use it to, there's great video editing software which Copilot could integrate into. It can help you create images, content, FAQs, anything like that. So really, it's going to help you create that knowledge and that content to distribute the knowledge to people.
Okay. Now, ability, I think we will probably skip over, because the ability is actually getting somebody to use this. So there's no other way really, apart from you've given them the A, the D, the K. You now need to go live with it and see how they use it. So I think we'll skip over the ability piece. There's not much to really sort of benefit from there. So as we go on to reinforcement, the pro-sci methodology suggests that on average somebody needs to be told something 7 times before it actually sticks. So the
is that a minimum?
Yeah,
a minimum of 7 times.
Yeah. It depends on the individual. It could be a lot more. But it's 7 times. So if somebody goes to use Copilot, for example, and types in a pretty poor prompt and it doesn't bring back what they want to, there's a chance they're just going to go, it's not what I thought it was. But actually, if they continue to use it, shown how to do it, given all that support piece, then it starts to sink in and it starts to become habitual. So how can we use it on that reinforcement phase?
Yeah. Yeah, great point then. We talked earlier, didn't we, about how you don't want people to revert back to their old way of working, do you?
Yeah.
So yeah, really important. But yeah, so here, and actually part of the reinforcement, it's important that you go through those assessment stages again. So recycling the assessment stages, and then you Copilot to analyze the progress that you've made, and the areas that individuals or teams need support with. So, as part of the previous bits, we said, right, we've created dashboards which are going to give us information on this. So let's recycle those assessments, but then compare the data and see where we're making changes. Also, you can then recycle the comms that we've used, but also use Copilot to craft new comms based on the output from that information. So actually, rather than just recycling the same old information to people and reinforcing it that way, where perhaps have we identified something by using Copilot and Power BI and all these clever things to say people are kind of getting this bit, but they're not necessarily getting this bit over here. So we need to concentrate our comms on that. So then get Copilot to help you craft specific comms targeted to different people.
Cool. And we're coming to the close of it now, but we thought it's all very well talking about this stuff, but what sort of time savings are we talking about? So this is all subjective. It depends on the type of project, who you've got running it, how efficient they are, how well they know Copilot, and so on and so on. But I think really the message that we've sort of taken a punt on some of these, and if you notice, the assessments and the rerunning of the assessments are the place where the really big time savings are. It is, in essence, actually quite a simple process, but you need to do it thoroughly for it to really take effect. So by collecting all that information, having some of the analysis done, having it populated into the various different reporting tools, etc., that you want to use, you are going to save enormous amounts of time. And over a large scale project, this could be, weeks, months worth of effort. So the assessments and the reinforcement are the big wins. Awareness, helping it create all of those content, those plans, how you're going to communicate this out, etc. Again, that's another real big win. The knowledge and the desire piece, yes, you can help. You can get it to help with the creation of some of that stuff, but the reality is it's going to be far, far lower. So if you're going to go through this kind of process, look at the assessments, look at the awareness. Those are your big win areas. And ability, well, we don't know, so we just left that as a question mark. Yeah. So there's lots of time to be saved. There's lots of real benefits for this.
Yeah, and I guess also if you've done this once and put in the effort of creating this, and then you've got another change happening later down the line, you've kind of got the blueprint for how to do it, and those tools are already in place. And then it then becomes you save even more time the more that you do it, and the more you refine it and adapt it as well.
Yeah, copy paste.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Great. Okay. Well, thanks very much for listening, everyone. You can subscribe now to the Copilot Connection podcast. We've got their website, their LinkedIn, and their YouTube channel up there. They put on a really great month of content all around Copilot for everyone here, and they've done a really brilliant thing, and it's been great to be a part of it. So thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you. Enjoy.